Marketing Department of Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo Nireke Ibadan, and you will be glad you did. Pensioners FM, the voice of liberation. The voice of liberation.
There is that radio station that cares about the people, looks out for the missing here among us, shines the light into darkened souls. It's not just the professionalism with which we work, it's the heart, the love, the kindness that endears people to us.
From Pensioners 106.7 FM, the time is 7 o'clock. Good evening. This is news at sunset on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo Oniweke, Ibadan. My name is Okweyemi Adewale. First, the top stories. Buhari mourns late Balarabe Musa. Chief of Air Staff Lords Makande's airport expansion efforts. Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company rolls out free meters. And in sports, Super Eagles Benin camp swells as more players arrive. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned former governor of Kaduna State, Balarabe Musa, who died this morning at the age of 85. In a statement issued by the presidential spokesman, Garba Shehu, President Buhari described the ex-governor as the voice for the voiceless, saying he will be sorely missed. The statement says President Buhari believes Alhaji Musa reflected the passion and vigor that heralded Nigeria's independence, which steadily translated into activism for return to democracy at the height of military interregnum. President Buhari prayed God to grant his soul eternal rest and comfort his family, friends, and associates. Musa, who was the first governor in the history of Nigeria to be impeached, died at 84 and has been buried according to Islamic rites. Until his death, he was the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the People's Redemption Party, PRP. President Muhammadu Buhari has reinstated the embattled Vice-Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, who was suspended in August. The president also dissolved the governing council of the university, formerly chaired by Wale Babalaki. In a statement, the spokesperson of the Federal Ministry of Education, Bem Gung, said the president expressed hope that the steps will bring peace, stability, focus, and reflection and direction to the university. According to President Buhari, the initial removal of Ogundipe by the governing council did not follow due process. The acting Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, has cautioned broadcast stations in the country against independently verifying the authenticity of information sourced on the social media before airing such. Professor Idachaba also said the Commission might be forced to raise the fine imposed on some broadcast stations in October 2020 for hesitating to pay. The NBC had fined Channels Television, Arise Television, and Africa Independent Television 3 million naira each for what it termed unprofessional coverage of the recent nationwide protest against police brutality. Speaking today on a monitored television program, Idachaba said some of the sanctioned stations had paid the fines, but others have not.
You are the one that owns the platform. You are the disseminator of information. The ethical burden is on you to ensure that before you churn out, you do your check. Regarding how we came about knowing that some of these things are fake, it's out there in the public. Some of the visuals that were shown, the footages that came out, some of the people that they claim died on the location came out to say they are alive and they didn't die.
Idachaba insisted that the NBC was not going to waive the fine for any of the broadcast outfits. The 27 elected local government chairmen in Imo State who were sworn in under the Okorocha-led administration but suspended by former Governor Emeka Ihedioha have vowed to return to their offices on the 30th of November to complete their tenure. The chairman, at a briefing in Owerri, Imo State capital, threatened that they will resume their office on the set date if Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma does not dissolve the present interim management committee across the 27 local government areas in the state. The acting chairman of the group, Chinwe Obinna, said their action is based on a recent ruling by the Federal High Court in Owerri, reinstating them into office, which the state government did not appeal.
We believe that the world needs to know that we have the constitutional mandate to return to our various offices, considering the position of the Appeal Court 2011 between Enyin Neone and others versus the Attorney General of Imo State and others, as well as the Supreme Court verdict on Ekiti, which established that state governors lack the constitutional powers to sack elected council officials.
The council chairman also promised to support Governor Hope Uzodinma to achieve his government's policy thrust in the state. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has insisted that the freezing of bank accounts belonging to NSAS promoters by the Central Bank of Nigeria is in order. Akeredolu, who spoke on the monitored program, believes the action is not a conclusion that the accounts were used to sponsor acts of treason. Although some social commentators and members of the public have described the action of the Central Bank of Nigeria as an abuse of power, Akeredolu maintained that the protesters must explain the flow of funds into their accounts.
It was so clear that probably some people were getting to fund this for reasons other than NSAS. So if we know money went from some accounts that are suspicious, then do you say the government should just keep quiet?
Meanwhile, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has dismissed reports that Southwest governors voted in favor of a clampdown on the social media at a meeting in Lagos. And in the meantime, a Chief Magistrate's Court of the Federal Capital Territory today granted bail to 6 individuals held by the police over their alleged involvement in the NSAS protests. An Osun Magistrates Court sitting in Osogbo has remanded 2 females in Ilesha Correctional Facility for alleged attempt to murder Governor Adegboyega Oyetola. The 2, identified as Suliyat Tajuddin and Ayomide Abdulaziz, both 20, were charged for conspiracy, attempted murder, malicious damage, and burglary. The police prosecutor, ASP John Idoko, told the court that Suliyat, Ayomide, and others at large on the 17th of October 2020 conspired among themselves to attempt to kill Oyetola by firing guns and throwing stones at him during the NSAS protest. He added that they unlawfully damaged 17 vehicles in the governor's convoy, but the 2 accused persons pleaded not guilty to the 5-count charge preferred against them. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has reiterated his commitment to addressing structural operational strategies of the Nigerian Air Force across various units in the country in response to the nation's security exigencies. The Chief of Air Staff made this known during a courtesy visit on Governor Seyi Makinde as part of activities for his operational visit to Ibadan. He lauded the plans by Governor Makinde to expand the Ibadan airport and noted that the Air Force would partner the state government.
The idea of this visit is for us to identify where we have gaps in our organizational structure. And we are very excited to note that you are interested in expanding Ibadan airport. And we want to key into that initiative so that at the end of the day, we'll have a base that is better than what we have right now.
Responding, Governor Seyi Makinde said the attempt to identify structural gap in the Air Force would contribute in addressing national security challenges, noting that the Ibadan Airport expansion project was still on course.
So the relationship with the Nigerian Air Force here, we sure want to keep it up and even do more. I know this is a challenging period for us as a country, security-wise, and we want to thank you for looking towards Southwest, to expand the footprint of the Nigerian Air Force here.
The governor also promised to support the Air Force Comprehensive School in Ibadan in addressing some of its social infrastructure, particularly electricity supplies. Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, says it will commence the rollout of free meters to customers under the National Mass Metering Program by the 3rd week of November. The free metering move, according to the company, is in compliance with the federal government's newly introduced initiative to bridge the country's metering gap and cushion the effect of the service reflective tariff on electricity customers. The chief operating officer of IBEDC, engineer John Ayodele, in a statement, said the company would soon roll out a list of designated distribution points across the franchise. He assured of seamless metering process that allows customers to register and be metered quickly after following the due process. Tanker this morning exploded at Soka area of Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. Our correspondent, Toyosi Oladele, who was at the scene of the incident, said the tanker, which was carrying fuel, slipped on Soka Bridge and spilled its content, which resulted in an explosion that spread as far as the Mango axis. According to an eyewitness, the driver is suspected dead, while his partner sustained injuries and has been rushed to the hospital. This is news at sunset on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Let's now talk some pension and labor stories. The Cross River State House of Assembly has appealed to doctors in the state to call off their indefinite strike. The chairman, Committee on Health in the House, Ekpo Bassi, required the recommencement of the strike by members of Nigeria Medical Association in the state. Bassi appealed to the striking doctors to return to work in the interest of pregnant women, children, and other vulnerable people in society. The National Executive Council meeting of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners is holding today in Abuja. A delegation of government officials was scheduled to meet with the pensioners in view of the long delay in the implementation of minimum pension and its attendant consequential adjustment as a result of the increase in the national minimum wage last year. The delegation comprises Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ingege, and the Executive Chairman, National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, Epo Unta. Also expected at the meeting are the Ministry of Finance, the Pension Transitional Arrangements Directorate, PTAD, National Pension Commission, PENCOM, and the Registrar of Trade Unions. This is still news at sunset on Pensioners 106.7 FM. We'll be back with entertainment and sports stories. Nigerian music star Simi has expressed worry over the continuous abuse of women in Nigeria. Simi prays women begin to demand the respect they deserve and never settle for a life that continuously diminishes them. The singer described on a social media handle that what women go through every day as worrisome and heartbreaking. And in sports, there was a wild excitement at the Super Eagles hotel camp this morning following the arrival of the trio of Samuel Chukwueze, Chidera Ejuke, and Paul Onachu. Their arrival increased the number of players in the camp to 19. Victor Osimhen, Daniel Akpeyi, Kevin Akpoguma, Semi Ajayi, Shehu Abdullahi, and Jamilu Collins are expected in camp later today. Speaking with our correspondent, Ibiwumi Shola, Super Eagles coordinator Patrick Pasho said the players underwent COVID-19 tests this afternoon.
The result will come from later.
We apologize for that mix-up. The Super Eagles will take on the Leon Stars at the Samuel Ogbemudiam Stadium, Benin City, by 5 p.m. on Friday before flying to Freetown for the return game on Tuesday, November 17 at the Siaka Stevens Stadium. Super Eagles are currently leading their group with 6 points, while the Leon Stars are behind with just a point. And a victory in both encounters will increase Nigeria's chances of qualifying for the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. And now to end news at sunset on Pensioners 106.7 FM, here is a recap of the stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned former governor of Kaduna State, Balarabe Musa, who died this morning at the age of 85, describing him as a voice of the voiceless. Chief of Air Staff Sadiq Abubakar has visited Governor Sheyi Makinde in Ibadan, lauding his efforts at expanding the Alakia Airport. Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company IBEDC has said it will commence the rollout of free meters to customers under the National Mass Metering Program by the third week of November. And in sports, there was a wild excitement at the Super Eagles hotel camp this morning following the arrival of the trial of Samuel Chukwueze, Chidera Ejuke, and Paul Onwachu ahead of the Sierra Leone clash on Friday. For any information, contact us on these mobile numbers 0812 008 6270 or 0812 188 9462. You can also visit us at Oyo State Pensioners House at Barigo, Onureke, Ibadan. Produce editor is Pius Nsabe. Oluwayomi Uweye led the production crew. My name is Okbayemi Adewale. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
Ẹ kú déédéé wòyí, ìròyìn àṣálẹ́ ló ń dé sétí ìgbọ̀nyín láti kàn ní rédíò àgbàlódé pensioners 106.7 tó kalẹ̀ sí àgbárígo onírèké Ìbàdàn. Ṣáájú ẹ gbọ́ àwọn àrígbámú inú ìròyìn. Buhari kẹ́dùn Balarabe Musa. Ọ̀gá àgbà iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ojú òfurufú yin Mákindé láwo. Iléeṣẹ́ apínnáká tí ń bẹ nílùú Ìbàdàn fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pínpín ẹ̀rọ òǹkà iná lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Lábala eré ìdárayá látẹnu Ànúolúàpọ̀ Fásọyìn. Ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari kẹ́dùn ìpapòdà ẹni tó ti fìgbà kan rí jẹ́ gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Kaduna Balarabe Musa tó rí bí àgbáńrè lóòrọ̀ òní lẹ́ni ọdún márùndínláàádọ́rùn-ún. Nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan tágbẹnusọ ààrẹ Buhari ìyún Garba Shehu fi léde nínú ìlọsíwájú àti ìdàgbàsókè orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Ààrẹ kò ṣàì gbóhùn ẹ̀bẹ̀ sílédùà láti tẹ olóògbé sáfẹ́fẹ́ rẹ̀ kó sì tu ẹbí, ọ̀rẹ́ àti ojúlùmọ̀ nínú. Balarabe Musa tó jẹ́ gómìnà àkọ́kọ́ nínú àkọsílẹ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n yọ nípò rẹ̀ ní alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n finú tán nínú ìròyìn mi ẹ̀wẹ̀. Ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari ti yan Olúwatóyìn Ògúntípẹ̀ tí wọ́n yọ nípò rẹ̀ nínú oṣù kẹjọ ọdún yìí padà gẹ́gẹ́ bí gíwá ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga fásitì ìlú Èkó. Bákan náà èyí ló jẹyọ nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan tágbẹnusọ iléeṣẹ́ tó ń rí sétò ẹ̀kọ́ nílẹ̀ yìí Bembengong fi léde pẹ̀lú àfikún pé ààrẹ nígbàgbọ́ pé pẹ̀lú ìgbésẹ̀ yìí àlàáfíà yóò ráyè fìdí múlẹ̀ ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ náà àti láti mú un tẹ̀síwájú nínú iṣẹ́ rere rẹ̀. Ààrẹ fi kún pé ìgbìmọ̀ ìṣàkóso tó ń túká kùnà láti tọ ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ nígbà tí wọ́n yọ Ògúndípẹ̀, ìdí sì rèé tó ń fi dá padà sípò rẹ̀. Adarí àgbà àjọ tó ń ṣèṣàkóso àwọn iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà NBC ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Armstrong Idachaba ti ṣèkìlọ̀ fáwọn iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ àti amóhùnmáwòrán láti mọ wádìí àti nínú ṣíṣe àfikún ìjìyà tó wà fún irúfẹ́ ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ náà. Idachaba tó ṣe léyìí lákòókò tó ń kópa lórí ètò iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán kan ṣàlàyé pé àwọn kan nínú àwọn táwọn iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán tájọ NBC gbégidá lẹ́yìn ti san owó ìtanràn wọn nígbà táwọn kan sì ń ṣorí kunkun. Ẹ ó rántí pé àjọ NBC pàṣẹ fún iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán Channels, Arise àti AIT láti san mílíọ̀nù $3 fẹ̀sùn pé wọ́n ṣàfihàn àwọn nǹkan tí kò bófin mu lákòókò ìwọ́de fífòpin sí ikọ̀ SARS. Àwọn alága ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ 27 tí wọ́n dìbò yàn nígbà ìṣàkóso gómìnà Rochas Okorocha nípínlẹ̀ Imo tí gómìnà wọn àná Emeka Ehedioha júwe ilé fún ti fàkékọ́rí páwọn padà sípò àwọn lọ́gbọ̀njọ́ oṣù yìí tí gómìnà Hope Uzodinma tó wà nípò báyìí bá kọ̀ láti tú ìgbìmọ̀ alága fìdíhẹẹ́ tó ń lò láwọn ìpínlẹ̀ náà ká kó tó di ọjọ́ ọ̀hún eléyìí tí wọ́n mú. Àwọn alága tínú ń bí yìí Chinwe Obinna ṣàlàyé fáwọn oníròyìn pé ìgbésẹ̀ àwọn ló ṣe rẹ́gí pẹ̀lú ìdájọ́ ilé-ẹjọ́ gíga kan nílùú Òwèrì pé káwọn gba ipò àwọn padà, èyí tí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ náà kọ̀ láti pe ẹjọ́ kòtẹ́milọ́rùn lé lórí. Wọ́n sì jẹ́jẹ́ àtìlẹ́yìn àti ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ wọn fún gómìnà Hope Uzodinma láti mú ṣe àṣeyọrí nínú ìṣàkóso rẹ̀. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo Rotimi Akeredolu ti wòye pé bí ilé-ìfowópamọ́ àgbà ilẹ̀ yìí ṣe gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé àpò ìfowópamọ́ àwọn tó ń léwájú àwọn olùwọ́de fífòpin sí ikọ̀ SARS dáa gbà tó sì bófin mu. Akeredolu tó sọ̀rọ̀ yìí lákòókò tó ń kópa lórí ètò kan fi kún pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ ilẹ̀ yìí ló ń bẹnu àtẹ́ lu bí ilé-ìfowópamọ́ àgbà orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ṣe gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé àpò ìfowópamọ́ àwọn olùpolongo fífòpin sí ikọ̀ SARS. Nínú ìròyìn míì ẹ̀wẹ̀, gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ onímọ̀-ẹ̀rọ Ṣèyí Mákindé sọ pé irọ́ gbu nìròyìn tó gbé pé àwọn gómìnà ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn gúúsù orílẹ̀-èdè yìí buwọ́lù pé kíjọba máa ṣèṣàkóso àwọn nǹkan táwọn èèyàn bá ń gbé jáde lójú òpó ayélujára. Bákan náà nìròyìn míì sọ pé ilé-ẹjọ́ májísírèètì kan nílùú Àbújá ti pàṣẹ pé kí wọ́n gbónídùúró àwọn 6 kan tí wọ́n mú sígbèkùn nítorí pé wọ́n lọ́wọ́ nínú ìwọ́de fífòpin sí ikọ̀ SARS. Ilé-ẹjọ́ májísírèètì kan tó ń jókòó nílùú Òṣogbo ti pàṣẹ pé kí wọ́n fi àwọn 2 kan sílé àwọn ọmọ aláìlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ń bẹ nílùú Iléṣà fẹ̀sùn pé wọ́n gbìyànjú láti gbẹ̀mí gómìnà Adégbóyèga Oyètọ́lá. Olùfisùn wọn ASP John Idoko sọ níwájú ilé-ẹjọ́ pé Sulihat Tajudeen àti Ayọ̀mídé Abdulazeez táwọn méjèèjì jẹ́ ọmọ 20 ọdún pẹ̀lú àwọn míì lọ́jọ́ 17 oṣù tó kọjá gbìmọ̀pọ̀ láti gbẹ̀mí gómìnà Oyètọ́lá nígbà tí wọ́n ṣínà ìbọn bolẹ̀ táwọn kan sì ń lẹ òkúta lákòókò tí Oyètọ́lá ń gbìyànjú láti bá wọn ní gbólóhùn lákòókò ìwọ́de fífòpin sí ikọ̀ SARS. Ó fi kún pé wọ́n ba ọkọ̀ 17 jẹ́ nínú àwọn ọkọ̀ tó ń tẹ̀lé gómìnà lẹ́yìn, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn onítọ̀hún tí wọ́n fẹ̀sùn kàn ṣàlàyé pé àwọn ò jẹ̀bi àwọn ẹ̀sùn eléyìí tí wọ́n fi kan àwọn. Ọ̀gá àgbà iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ojú òfurufú nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà Ọ̀gágun Sadiq Abubakar ṣe ìfìdímúlẹ̀ ìpinnu rẹ̀ láti bójú wo àgbékalẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ọ̀hún jákèjádò orílẹ̀-èdè yìí lójúnà àti mú ètò ààbò orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà tó ń ṣe fíàgàn gbópọn. Nígbà tó ṣàbẹ̀wò ẹ̀ńlẹ́ńbẹ̀hún sí gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé nígbà tó wá wo bọ́wọ́ iṣẹ́ ṣe ń yá sí lẹ́ka iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ojú òfurufú tí ń bẹ nílùú Ìbàdàn, Ọ̀gágun Abubakar sì gbóṣùbà káre fún gómìnà Mákindé fún bó ṣe ń gbégbésẹ̀ láti fẹ pápákọ̀ òfurufú ìlú Ìbàdàn lójú sí i, pẹ̀lú àfikún pé iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ojú òfurufú ti ṣetán o láti fọwọ́ wẹwọ́ pẹ̀lú ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Nígbà tí gómìnà Mákindé náà ń fèsì, ó ṣàlàyé pé àtúntò iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ó ṣèrànwọ́ púpọ̀ fétò ààbò ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Òun náà sì jẹ́jẹ́ láti ṣàtìlẹ́yìn fún ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ọmọ ológun òfurufú tí ń bẹ nílùú Ìbàdàn nípa pípèsè àwọn ohun amáyérọrùn fún wọn. Iléeṣẹ́ àpínnáká tó fìdí kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn IBEDC sọ pé òun yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní pín àwọn ẹ̀rọ òǹkà iná tá a mọ̀ sí meters fáwọn oníbàárà wọn lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọ̀sẹ̀ kẹta nínú oṣù yìí, gẹ́gẹ́ bí àgbékalẹ̀ ètò àpínká àwọn ẹ̀rọ òǹkà iná tíjọba buwọ́lù láti fi máyérọrùn fáwọn aráàlú lẹ́yìn àfikún owó náà ìjọba. Alákòóso iléeṣẹ́ IBEDC onímọ̀-ẹ̀rọ John Ayọ̀délé nínú àtẹ̀jáde sọ pé láìpẹ́ làwọn ò fi orúkọ àwọn táwọn fẹ́ pín kinní ọ̀hún fún síta. Ọkọ̀ agbépo kan tó sọ ìjánu rẹ̀ nù lórí afárá Sókà tó sì da epo inú rẹ̀ nù lóòrò òní gbaná. Akọ̀ròyìn wa tó wà níbi ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà Tóyọ̀sí Ọládélé jábọ̀ pé epo ọ̀hún ṣàn dé agbègbè Ìdí Máńgò nítòsí Sókà táwọn tíṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà ṣojú wọn sì sọ fún un pé awakọ̀ ọkọ̀ náà bá ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ọ̀hún lọ nígbà tí olùrànlọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ tí wọ́n gbé lọ sílé ìwòsàn farapa yánnayànna. Ìròyìn àṣálẹ́ lẹ̀ ń tẹ́tí sí láti ìkànnì Pensioners 106.7. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n bọ́ sínú ìròyìn àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àti ti òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì. Ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìjọba àpapọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà ń ṣèpàdé pọ̀ lónìí nílùú Àbújá. Ìròyìn gbé pé ìgbìmọ̀ ìjọba àpapọ̀ mú ọjọ́ láti bá àwọn òṣìṣẹ́-fẹ̀yìntì sọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀ lórí nǹkan tó fà á tí wọn ò ṣe tí ì ṣàfikún owó oṣù wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ṣe fáwọn òṣìṣẹ́. Lára àwọn tí wọ́n ń retí níbi ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún ni akọ̀wé àgbà síjọba àpapọ̀ Boss Mustapha, alákòóso fọ́rọ̀ iṣẹ́ àtìgbanisíṣẹ́ Chris Ngige, àtàlágà àjọ tó ń rí sí bówó ṣe ń wọlé àti bí wọ́n ṣe ń sanwó oṣù àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àti àwọn owó àjẹmọ́nú wọn epo ń tà àti gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ tọ́rọ̀ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́-fẹ̀yìntì lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí gbèrú. Ìròyìn àṣálẹ́ ló ń dé sétí ìgbọ́ yín láti kàn ní rédíò àgbàlódé Pensioners 106. Ẹ káàbọ̀ padà. Tẹ̀rín tọ̀yàyà làwọn ikọ̀ Super Eagles fi kí àwọn akẹgbẹ́ wọn tó darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn níbùbá wọn nílùú Benin lónìí ṣáájú ìfigagbága wọn pẹ̀lú orílẹ̀-èdè Sierra Leone nínú ìfigagbága ta ni yóò kópa nínú ìdíje ife ẹ̀yẹ ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ tọdún 2021 tí yóò wáyé ní pápá ìṣeré Samuel Ogbemudia nílùú Benin láago 5 ọjọ́ Ẹtì ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí. Lára àwọn tó darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn lónìí ni Samuel Chukwueze, Chidera Ijuke àti Paul Onuachi. Nígbà tí alákòóso ikọ̀ náà Patrick Pascal ń bá akọ̀ròyìn wa Ìbíwùmí Ìṣọ̀lá sọ̀rọ̀, ó wí fún un pé gbogbo àwọn agbábọ́ọ̀lù náà ló ti ṣàyẹ̀wò ara wọn fáàrùn COVID-19 lọ́sàn-án òní. Ikọ̀ Super Eagles ló ń lékè tábìlì ìsọ̀rí tí wọ́n wà pẹ̀lú àmì 6 tí Sierra Leone sì ń tẹ̀lé wọn gbágbáágbá. Ìròyìn àṣálẹ́ wa fún tòní kò ní jù báyìí lọ, ṣùgbọ́n kí n tó dánu dúró ẹ gbọ́ àwọn àrígbámú inú rẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. Buhari kẹ́dùn Balarabe Musa tó dolóògbé lónìí. Ọ̀gá àgbà iléeṣẹ́ ọmọ ológun ojú òfurufú yìn gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ Ṣèyí Mákindé láwo fún bó ṣe fẹ́ fẹ pápákọ̀ òfurufú lójú sí i. Iléeṣẹ́ àpínnáká tí ń bẹ nílùú Ìbàdàn fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pínpín ẹ̀rọ òǹkà iná lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ fáwọn oníbàárà rẹ̀. Lábala eré ìdárayá, àwọn agbábọ́ọ̀lù Super Eagles darapọ̀ máwọn akẹgbẹ́ wọn níbùbá wọn tí ń bẹ nílùú Benin. Pius Nsàbẹ pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ Olúwayọ̀mí Adésínà ló ṣíwájú ikọ̀ tó kóròyìn jọ. Àánú Olúwápọ̀ Fásọyìn ló mú wá sétí ìgbọ̀nyín. Kásùn rè o.
Ẹ láòdẹ. Ẹ láòdẹ. Ẹ láòdẹ. Ẹ yí sókè. Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè náà.
Sọ̀rọ̀ sókè baby, sọ̀rọ̀ sókè, sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Who beat you? Sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Ṣé na Lee Frosh? Sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Oya no vex, sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. No go do am again. Sọ̀rọ̀ sókè.
Ọpẹ́ o, ó ti